Engine 1 for Car 1. Car 1's on scene. Assuming command. Give me a CAN report.
What's going on, everybody? This is Mike Goldstein. Stickers of the CAN report. Mazel tov, everybody. I have New Jersey in the house. I have Chris Whyte, and I am happy to have him on the program this evening. We kind of just happened to have a chance meeting on the socials on Instagram, and we just happened to start talking, and boom, we hit it off. And man, I think it was just literally like just 2 days ago, we just started talking, and I loved what you had going on. I loved what you were talking about, and I wanted to get you on the program for everybody to understand what Chris is doing, who he is, and the work that he's doing within his state. So Chris Whyte, thank you so much for being on the CAN report, brother.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, man. Happy to have you. Absolutely. So, as I always do, everybody, if you haven't, please click like, subscribe, my YouTube, my Spotify, my Apple. It helps me to know that I'm doing well. It helps me to know that you are listening and maybe getting something out of it. And if there's anybody that you want to see or hear, let me know. And if you have something that you think you're going to bring to the table, let me know, and we'll see you, get you on the show. And so also I'd like to give a big shout out always is to my sponsor, Engine House Designs. Engine House Designs LLC is owned by Cody Hill out of Memphis, Tennessee. If you're looking for flags, hats, t-shirts, you name it, the brother's got it. He does union wear, station wear. If you have a company and you have a brand or a label that you want to get out, he's the man to do it. So please make sure that you are checking in with Engine House Designs LLC, and they can see what they can do for you. So Engine House Designs LLC, ignite the pride. With that being said, we're going to start it off. So Chris Whyte, my man, I'm going to start into your bio here real quick. Firefighter Chris Whyte, between volunteer and career, he has been involved in the fire service for about 18 years. Started as a volley in his hometown at 16. He was hired by his neighboring town of Westfield. Is it Westfield End?
Westfield.
Okay, Westfield of 2014, a small department of 40 people. He was then transferred to Elizabeth Fire Department in 2019. He'd been assigned to the truck the majority of his career. He also has a background in residential construction, working for a company and having his own business, mainly in framing and sheetrock. Started Garden State Size Up in 2023 to help spread some deeper knowledge and about construction to the firehouse service. And he is the current team coordinator for the New Jersey Critical Incident Stress Management Team. He's been a member since it started about 8 years ago. And now he's been a coordinator for 3 years now and helping all first responders and their families across the state, regardless of career or volunteer status, with working through critical incidents he found incidents found at work or life. And he's been married and has a 7-week-old son. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And that's it, man. That's awesome. Fatherhood. Yeah. It's crazy, huh?
Oh yeah. It's, well, right now it's exhausting.
I bet.
That part doesn't stop, but I love it. Yeah.
Good, man. Congratulations. Glad you like it. I have twin girls and they're turning 16 in a few weeks. So it goes by fast.
Yeah.
It goes by super fast. Yeah. So be aware for that. And then, I don't know how it is for boys, but for me, having twin girls, they all of a sudden they hit 15 and they don't want to know me anymore. Like they, I'm an Uber, I'm a DoorDash, I'm an ATM. And then they come home and they're upstairs in their caves and doing whatever. And I don't see them for like hours or almost a day. So it's fun. First you're like daddy's little girl, and then, and then all that, and then it changes. So, but Chris, happy to have you, my friend. And we'll get it started. So, it's awesome. You've started as a volunteer. So you know what it's like to have to respond from home and do those kind of sacrifices from leaving your house and doing these long, sometimes long calls on your department. What made you want to join that life? You started because you started pretty young.
Yeah, they had a junior program where I grew up, and the firehouse was right down the street from me. So I always loved it. I had family members that were both in Patterson Fire Department and New York City Fire Department, kind of spread out across Staten Island and Brooklyn. So it was I had a lot of influences that kind of geared me towards it, and then where I was from, it was kind of do that or be involved in sports. I was doing both, and I just kind of really loved the fire department. Hated school, loved the fire department, and that's kind of what I always wanted to do.
And you don't have any family in the fire service, correct?
Direct family members, no. A lot of like cousins and uncles that all were, yeah.
So
Um,
what made you want to just like you hit the ground running and you just didn't stop?
yeah, I'm like, like every parent, they pushed for college. I went to school down in Virginia for a year to play lacrosse. Got hurt, doctor was like, can't play anymore. Came back home, kept doing the volley stuff, started working full time. And was just pretty much like, I want to be career fireman. So my dad was nice enough to take me all across the East Coast and take tests from Boston all the way down to West Palm.
Oh
And
wow.
it took a couple years, and then it's weird. It's weird how things happen like all at the same time. Like I was testing and testing, and nothing was happening, and then all of a sudden I had 3 job offers in a week.
Yeah.
One of them was Baltimore County, and then one was actually a police job in the county that I lived in, and then the other was for Westfield Fire Department, which was right next door to where I grew up. I knew that town like the back of my hand, so it was a pretty easy decision to like stay close to home.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, yeah, and it was great. Those are great group of guys. And quickly got involved with the union over there, and that's kind of how I got started with the critical incident stuff. But yeah, it was that's pretty much like what got me into it.
So you still have your construction company.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of haven't been taking jobs a lot lately, just because I've been working on my own house.
Mm-hmm.
And then my partner in it was my cousin, and his family owns a ton of buildings and multifamily houses within Staten Island and Brooklyn. So we kind of switched our business into just doing all of the building maintenance for that.
Gotcha.
And so, yeah, a lot of old school, like 4, 5, 6 story walk ups in Brooklyn, beautiful old type 3 buildings. And then just like a lot of real ghetto families in Staten Island. So,
So how far away are you from? So it doesn't sound like you're very far. So how far are you from the city?
so the city that I work in currently, Elizabeth, is literally right across the river from Staten Island. That's where my family is from, Staten Island, on my dad's side. My mom's side's from Brooklyn. So I spent my childhood in the city over there, and then my parents, moved to Jersey, and my father worked in Port Newark for 40 something years running
Really?
a shipping company. So I kind of grew up on that waterfront area over there. I still say to this day, if I wasn't a fireman, I'd probably be a longshoreman. But
So that's great. So did you ever want to be on the FDNY?
yeah, yeah, I tested for them. I did pretty well, but the way they have their point system kind of worked out at the time. You could do really well, but if you weren't living in the city and you weren't like on EMS, then, it was really hard for you to get in, not
Gotcha.
having those kind of things behind you. But my mom was pushing for it. She's like, go get your medic, jump on a truck. Your cousins are doing the same thing. And she was a nurse, so she wanted me to do that stuff. But, I was enjoying what I was doing in Jersey. So it's, we got a lot of fires going on over here too.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you guys are pretty busy. How big is your department?
So where I work now, we have 11 companies, 3 trucks, a heavy rescue, 7 engines. Um, it's set up into 2 battalions. So we got an uptown chief, a downtown chief, and then a shift commander. Roughly, I think we're 240. I think 240 manpower,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just for fire. We do EMS, but we have civilians on the ambulances.
Oh,
In our
nice.
boxes, and then like our engines and rescue will run like first responder runs with them as well. Yeah, I don't know like how much you know about where I work, but it's pretty
No.
crazy. We split the Newark airport with Newark. We split the seaport with Newark. We have the Goethals Bridge that we share with Staten Island. Um, and yeah, I think we're technically smack in the middle of what Homeland Security calls the 5 most dangerous miles on the East Coast. Between the waterfront and all the infrastructure there. So we
Yeah.
have a lot of really good training and a lot of good resources just because of the infrastructure that we're responsible for protecting.
And you said you're mostly now assigned to the truck. You've been on the truck for a while.
Yeah,
Um,
been on the truck almost my whole career in Elizabeth. I did 3 months in an engine before they moved me to a truck. I've been there ever since. I love it. It's kind of like what I think I was put into the fire service to do. It's truck work. Um, yeah, and I was
Tell
on
me
the
about that. Tell me about truck work. Tell me about like what is the for people who aren't familiar with Jersey, people who aren't familiar with like literally like engine work versus truck work. What is that you guys do? What is that culture there?
Well, I mean, we have a minimum 4 guys on each one of our trucks and rescue. But we have 6 assigned to each company. Um, and then everyone's got their role. The boss is the boss. I like riding typically with him, being his forcible entry guy. Um, but we got an OB guy, we got a roof guy, we got a vent guy. So yeah, that's really it. It's I don't know. We do it like our way, right? And a lot of cities, I think in New Jersey, do it similar, but um, it's hard to really talk about what it is as a whole because staffing is so different everywhere.
It is, and that's why I really wanted to hit on that is because there is like obviously you're not riding a Quint,
Now,
right? Like,
but
and
in
so
Westfield, I did.
yeah,
In Westfield, I did, and we operated it in like if we were going mutual aid, we were a truck. If it was in town and the town was split where there was an uptown and a downtown. If it was uptown where the truck was and there was a fire, well, you were pulling a line off of it.
yeah.
But if it was downtown, you're setting up the stick. So it was that part of it was very different within my career is kind of like, oh, I'm assigned to the truck and I got to test all the pump pressures.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah. So
now,
this curious because like, there is a shift, and especially when you get into the bigger cities, there is guys that just like you said, that they're just on the truck and that's what they do, truck life all the way. And then you don't have to make that decision of whether you're going to be suppression or you're going to be an aerial device.
yeah,
And, it's cool to see those different areas and what you guys do and how you prepare as a crew. Like, what is your assignment? So Chris, like, when you get a call, man, like, what are you doing on that truck?
grabbing the irons, I'm grabbing a can, going in with the captain to investigate what the call is. If it's fire, trying to keep it at bay with the can till the engine can get there. Um, just general investigations, that kind of stuff on the routine calls. And then, if it's at a fire and we're first due, we're forcing entry, we're searching.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if we're second due, because again, like the city's split into 3 basically truck districts. So you're either first due, second due, or on the second alarm. And when you're second due, you're typically always like going to the roof, getting that vent going for the guys, and then a ladder in the buildings. But the first due truck, one of the guys is at least attempting to do that too to start. So we're just very fortunate. We all kind of work as a team, radio communication before you even get there, who's coming in what way. And yeah, it's great. We do it good. And I think it's fun. I love doing demo when I'm doing construction jobs, and it's like doing demo in a fire at the
Yeah.
same.
How did you get selected to be on the truck? Because some people, they consider that in their own mind, like, moving up in the world, right? So how did
Yeah,
you get selected to do that?
we don't really run like I would say like a selection process like that like other departments do. Now, that being said, like the Chiefs might be doing that and I don't know about it. But how it starts, like when you come out of Proby school, you do 3 months in an engine, 3 months in a truck just to kind of get your general experience.
Mm-hmm.
From there, you get your assignment. And I'm sure the captains and the chiefs are having discussions about who they want to go where and do stuff, but that's pretty much how it goes. And then you get trained up once you're like in your assignment. So that's,
Nice.
yeah, there's no
So
real I've heard on your show where guys like are testing and transferring to, from the engine to the truck. It's not like that. Like we do everything on like if there's a vacancy in a company, we can put in bids. Those bids go by seniority. So, um,
nice.
and that works for rescue too. They're a little bit more selective. But still if there's an opening and there's a bid, like, most senior guy who wants it can go ahead and take it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Now, when do you move up to, or are you trying to study to be an engineer or chauffeur?
I'm actually in the middle of the testing process for captain now. So, the way New Jersey does it with civil service, there's a written test, then they give you like a 4 to 6 month hiatus, and then they get you with an oral exam. So,
So
uh,
you're testing for captain, you said? So, and where do you go from there? Do you now, if you were to get promoted to captain, do you go to a different house? Do you no longer, imagine that's going to kind of move your world all different places.
Yeah, it all depends on the vacancies that are available. And like I said, everything is like a bid. So we have we have roving captains as well as we have like assigned captains. So most of the time the newer captains get assigned to the roving positions where then they kind of really get to go wherever there's a vacancy that day. And if
Gotcha.
it's not one, then they're riding with the chief and they're doing more of the kind of helping out at the command post kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
Um, but the guys that I've been friends with for a while at work that have all just kind of recently become roving captains, they love it. It's all of our districts are really cool to work in, and they bring in their own challenges to them, and it's really like eye opening for all these guys' careers. So, but depending where they come from, they're kind of fast tracked into certain positions as well. Uh, so yeah, I don't really know. I'll be happy wherever I land. I just hope I do well. And, but yeah, we also have some administrative positions too, right? So that we have a captain in the training division and, we have a captain in dispatch. Um, and yeah, so, but I'll be happy wherever. I enjoy all of it. I'm not
Good.
opposed to engine work. I just like ripping doors down.
So that brings me to that question. So you're into construction, and you apparently have a very big passion for it. So
Mhm.
you run an Instagram page,
Yes.
and it's was it Garden State Size Up?
Yep.
So Garden State Size Up, and it's to just bring knowledge and education to people who maybe are looking for more information on about building construction and how to read the buildings we're going to and understand how they work and how they fail. And so, what made you want to develop that more? Did you see there was an area that was lacking for education on that? Because we have some amazing people also who write, who like, Vincent Dunn. That right there comes to mind, and John Norman. They guys that just really done a great job with talking about building construction. So, how did you develop this?
Yeah. It's like I kind of thought like, those guys do a great job. And I got to meet Vinny Dunn like a year ago. It was awesome. Got his
That's
autograph in his
fantastic.
book. Like I was all excited about it. But I don't know, like I thought there was like maybe a little bit of a gap missing as far as like really kind of going into the finer details as far as like what some building components are. Like here's the word and the definition, how it affects us, and some pretty obvious pictures. um and that kind of came to me like one from just like kind of noticing online like, hey, there's all these people doing all this awesome stuff on social media with the fire service, and some of them talk about building construction, but like they're not like really hitting home on like what's a soffit, and like when fire's blowing out of a window, like why is it important to know what a soffit is when your captain tells you to check it with the camera or rip some of it down with the hook?
Yeah.
Um, And so yeah, like between all the departments I've been involved in, I've kind of just noticed that not everyone is as fortunate as I am to have the background in construction and kind of really know some of these things. And, I kind of wanted to just help out and put out some good knowledge. And, yeah, that was it. So I've
So
got, yeah, I've gotten some good feedback from it, and I enjoy doing it. And Paige helps me learn and grow as well too. So
yeah, absolutely. It definitely does. And it seems like you really do love it. It seems like you, like I said, you've got some really good information here. I'm going to share your page here. So we have it up here, and like, is some of these like of your area, that these pictures
yeah,
that you
so
have?
some photos are from my area. Some are just like, if you ever look at my like personal Facebook algorithm, it's like all like home inspectors and building construction guys and fire department stuff. So I like take a lot of like photos from jobs or inspections that they do, and then just kind of digest it and go about it. But yeah, some of it I like talking about some of the line of duty deaths that have occurred from building construction failures, because again, that stuff doesn't really seem to stop, and we always try to learn from failures within the fire department. So
Like, here's a good one here. We learn a lot about the trusses, right? We learn a lot about the gusset plates. And so you have this on here and you're talking about that. What do you all think of this? Concerns? Have you seen it where you work? The client didn't want to pull the roof deck because of weather conditions affecting the occupied space. 2x4s, plywood, and glue and epoxy, and lots of strong drive screws. So you go into some good detail about what's going on, what's holding it up. So looking at the screen, so what do you want to tell people in this screen here? What should we be looking for?
I mean, myself and a lot of guys where I work with, we always say like, hey, put your phones down and like look out and about. Like, so it's like if your department is doing building inspections, you might not be the inspector, maybe your officer is, but you should still be looking around and just, sizing the place up, right? We always talk about like size up never stops. I'm a big proponent of like try to soak in that building, that house as much as you can when it's not on fire, because the next time you're there, it might be. And now going into it like, hey, that roof there is fucked.
Yeah.
We're not going to go to that because we know from an inspection that their trusses failed. They came in with some repair that an inspector said was okay, but is it really okay? He was just happy with it. And so, yeah, that's what I think is kind of, important.
And we have another one here talking about the different changes in lumber from 2025 to 1850. And you're going into detail just about the lumber that we use and the stability of it and the strength of it. So,
Yeah. I mean, that post is kind of like, I like posts like that. Like, I'm a big proponent too on like history is important, right? So when I say that, I mean like the history of where you work, right? I don't know much about the town that you work in, but I could tell you the town that I work in was around during the Revolutionary War. So with that, I know that there's homes of brace frame construction, balloon frame construction, platform construction, and everything else. Um, it's important to know like a little bit of like when your town was founded, because you can start to rule things out right away if it wasn't around prior to 1860, right, or 1900 or whatever.
sure.
And where you and I both work, we're in the oldest part of the country. I think a lot of people seem to forget about that, but coming up from like Virginia all the way to Boston, it's the oldest part of the country. And where I work, you could be looking at a house from the mid 1700s right next to a house that was built in 2016.
Right. Made to look like a house from the 1600s, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's the tricky part, is they want everything to look good. They might want to make sure that everything is meshed well, and those homes look just like the balloon style frames. So
Yeah.
there's little keys that you have to like find out and really pay attention to, so you understand what building construction that new house is, opposed to the old one that's sitting next to it, and they're made to look identical.
Yeah. It's yeah, I'm like a nerd for it. I teach it in my department. And so like I'm always like looking and searching like, yeah, where's the activated, fire alarm that we're searching for right now. But I'm also looking at like, what's the landlord done to this place?
Mm-hmm.
Doors are locked. What aren't? but also like, oh, this whole place from the outside looks like it's 100 years old, but it's all TJIs, inside of it, and that's the basement's packed full of crap, and we're gonna, we're gonna push in, right, like everybody else does, but those things burn out in minutes.
Yeah.
They're heavy fire conditions. I think I was just reading the other day, they exposed TGIs burn out in 6.5 minutes.
So, what is a TJI?
Those are those engineered wood eyes, right? The 1x3s with the web is really just OSB, so wood chips and glue. And I think they're nastier than the trusses, right? Because I think the trusses are a little bit thicker. Those gusset plates are gonna maybe give you a little bit more time than the wood chips will. And yeah, they're just builder's level, right? Because you can do way more, crazier spans with them, and they're super versatile as far as being, roof rafters or floor joists. And they really, allow homeowners to have these great giant big rooms and everything. But for us, they're an absolute nightmare. So they're a lot of like when you hear like through the door, through the floor kind of stuff, like that's what's in the way.
When you're doing your building construction, are you also educating your new guys also about the reading smoke of it and how, what to look for especially these older or even new style buildings, where the smoke is, how it's moving, where it's going to be moving to, or where the fire might be?
Yeah, I mean, at least with our crew, we typically always kind of talk about like, hey, in this kind of building, these are our concerns. This is where fire is really going to be traveling, and why, like, that kind of stuff. It's every opportunity is or every time we're out is an opportunity to kind of teach as far as like what that building might hold. But and then even during overhaul, it's like pull the new guy over because we're pulling down some sheetrock, and it's like, hey, check out this wet wall. Well, what's a wet
Mhm.
wall? Oh, it's the wall they run all the pipes up from the basement all the way up through the cockloft and out the roof. Like, this is where fire is going to travel. This is how it gets in here and then goes everywhere else. And they're like, oh, no way.
Dude, I honestly like the keyword that just stuck out to me honestly is the wet wall, but also cocklofts and knee walls. Like
Yeah.
those are things that maybe the newer people don't even understand that terminology. You really have to show them what it is and
And
why
I
it's a
break
danger.
that all down for them. There's if you follow my page, there's no excuse to not know what that stuff is. They'd repeat posts like 2 or 3 times on 'em.
That's
So,
awesome. That's
yeah.
great. I really do love that you've got that page up there. And like you said, there's so many great people doing some amazing things on social media for good, and they're developing something that's helping other people. And I think that's an amazing page to be able to reference when you're looking for information or just want to show somebody, because that's right on your finger and right underneath your finger on your phone, right? It's right there when you're
Yeah.
with your probie or somebody else who's trying to explain something. You can just bring up your page and here's huge examples of building construction. And yeah, like I said, you got fires in there. So it shows like how it's operating inside those buildings as well. It's very cool.
And I'm still a student in the game as well too, right? I'm going to classes, I'm talking to people. I think it was just a couple weeks ago I called, another New Jersey building construction legend, Chief Anthony Avillo, and I had some questions on him, and it ended up for him, and it ended up being like a half an hour phone call in the back.
I
Um,
got to listen to him speak at County Fire Tactics. I absolutely loved it. It was a great event because it was John Norman, it was Anthony Avellino, and man, there was a couple others that um, escapes me right now. But man, it was great to hear them speak. It was great, especially from those two guys that just their knowledge that they have for this, and they're showing cities, and it's great to see what they had to work with and how these buildings are dangerous to firefighters.
yeah. Yeah, he's great. New Jersey's very fortunate to have him. And another guy I talked to a lot on Facebook, he's a chief from a town right next door to where I grew up to, Rick DeGroot. He runs a great Facebook page.
I've seen that. So it's funny
Please.
because I have an officer in my department. They have the same last name. And I when I first saw his pages pop up, I'm like, man, is my captain like doing building construction stuff? and then I saw the name, and I love what he posts.
Yeah.
And I think that's another great page for anybody who's out there. Like, check out DeGroot's page. It does a really good job.
Yeah, his page is amazing, and he's got like a lot of really good guys from all over the country that interact on all his posts. And yeah, I get the privilege of talking to him occasionally and picking his brain on stuff. And
Now,
no,
is he from Jersey? You say he's from Jersey, right?
he's from so like the town I grew up in, Mountainside. Westfield was on one side, and Summit was on the other, and he was the chief of Summit Fire Department.
That's so cool. And what was his name of his page again? Because I only see it from passing.
Construction for the fire service. It's only on Facebook.
Right.
But yeah, awesome page. It's he does a lot of stuff with all the line of duty stuff that he posts. He posts like every NIOSH report on a death that's related to some kind of building collapse or some kind of building failure that, you know, caused the line of duty death. Those are always, you know, good to read. I like reading them. And then yeah, he does a lot of posts similar to like my posts too, where it's like, hey, what is this? And he'll put up 40 pictures and, you know, a write up, and guys will chime in all over the place with, oh yeah, we got that by us in Seattle and we hate it, or you know, whatever.
That is fantastic. Yeah, I love those pages. Again, I think they're just so helpful to have, and quick references is really, really important. And I love that you guys are working on that and talking to each other as well to see what you guys got going on to help each other out.
Yeah.
I think that's great to be able to work with each other and come up with the same mission of helping others be educated. So you also have another chief as well. You have Mike Turpak from the Jersey area as well, right? You know,
Probably the best high-rise firefighting class I've taken was from him. And he if you ever get the chance to listen to it, it's great. He traveled all across the country to kind of see what everybody's doing, and then he made it like very friendly to like any kind of department regardless of your staffing. Like, hey, these are what you guys should be doing. And I found it very insightful. It was
and
great.
he was another I got to listen to at County Fire Tactics, and I really, really enjoyed that as well. All three of them were just phenomenal. So
yeah, his size up book is really good too.
Yeah, exactly. I love that they got it all going on. Plus, you know what? I've said it before. I like it when presenters like, yeah, if you want this information, here it is. You know, email me. I'll give you my PowerPoints. There might be some things they don't want you to use for pictures or whatever. They'll take those out, and they just ask that you give credit where credit is due. But educate, bring it home to your other guys, and do a class and talk about it. And I think that's great. And the same thing what you're doing, and so keep on working hard on that, dude. So, but you also do something that's really important as well, and you do the critical incident stress management team. So tell me why you got into that.
So I got, you know, I'm a product of it. So when I was a volunteer, we had we responded to a fatal house fire. It was a woman losing custody of her kid, and she decided to torch the house and kill herself and the kid. You know, a bunch of us went in, got the mother and got the kid out, worked on them. They did the pronouncement, whatever. And at the time, they brought in what they called the Phoenix team in New Jersey. So New Jersey has 4 volunteer CISM teams, critical incident stress management teams. And the Phoenix team was where, you know, I lived and grew up, and it's like Northeast New Jersey, if that makes sense. And so I thought it was, you know, it was super beneficial. They came in, did the whole peer support thing, and you know, it kind of just resonated with me. These people took time out of their days. They don't even know us, and they're here to help. And you know, so I always like had it in the back of my head that was something I was interested in. And then fast forward a few years later, the FMBA there, which is one of the 2 state unions here in New Jersey. We have the IFF, and then we have the FMBA. The FMBA, there was another local that needed assistance. They were calling the Phoenix team, and they, you know, unknown to them, the Phoenix team kind of disbanded. These guys either died or retired and moved to Florida. And so Yeah, the union thought it was a good idea to kind of start this up. And so what they did was, they did a lot of research to kind of figure out what's the best program out there, what are people doing. And so they followed, they hired a company. It's a nationally recognized company, the ICISS. So or, oh man, I'm going to butcher this now, but they basically do like all of the individuals in crisis and groups in crisis training. Um, and Yeah, so we did that training. I couldn't sign up fast enough. They asked, who wanted to sign up. I was like part of the original 20 on the team. Um, and it being a new thing, it took a while for locals to kind of buy in, and get the word out that the service was available. So it was pretty slow going, but as the years went on, it picked up. And at the time I was single, no girlfriend, no kids. I just had, my other house that I own in Elizabeth. And so I couldn't go on enough of them. I just whatever was coming in, I was available for. And it was very rewarding,
Hmm.
when you go out and you're trying to help. And sometimes, you just feel like you helped one person, and other times you feel like you helped the whole room.
Yeah.
But I just found it to be extremely rewarding, going out and like helping our, brothers and sisters in what they're considering is like at the time their worst call that, they need help with.
And
So
this is day and night for you, right? Like if you're at home and there's something going on, you're activated.
yeah, so like we're on call 24/7. That being said, most people, they typically called in the working daytime hours, but I
Yeah.
do occasionally field phone call at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. Um, and yeah, we offer a bunch of services. So we do a lot of one-on-ones. We'll do a lot of like mental health referrals. And then we do two other things. One's a diffusing, the other's a debriefing. So you have to meet certain time criteria in order to do one versus the other. And what I would say about the diffusings is typically when we're getting notified to do them, we're kind of already out of the time
Hmm.
for it. So because they're 8 to 12 hours after, and basically, just so you and your viewers can understand what that is, what we're doing, we're coming in. It's at least two of us. But like everything else, try to keep span of control. Um, and we try to bring a mental health professional with us too. We have them on our team, and the diffusings are like a big information dump. So we're gonna come in and tell you what might come in the 72 hours between, at least in New Jersey, we work 24/72. So what might come in the next 72 hours, as your adrenaline comes down, and with that coming down, emotions and thoughts and everything is going to kind of come to fruition. So we do our best to prepare you for that. So you're not at home thinking, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah.
When all of a sudden 3 days later you're getting mad at a call you went to on Friday night. Um, and so that we do that, and what we do is we try to repeat ourselves 3, 4, 5 times with all that information that's to come. We give them a lot of paperwork to take home to let their spouses know, because I think that's equally as important.
Sure.
And the reason why we say it so many times is because when you are exposed to that kind of stuff and that brain fog is kind of starting to hit you, you're really only absorbing about 20-25% of the information that you're given in that time. So our thoughts are, if we say it 4 times, you'll get 100% of it.
Hmm.
Um,
I like
and
that.
what I could tell you is sometimes when we go out for the diffusings and then we follow up with a debriefing their next shift, you do hear that like, hey, I'm glad you told me that because it happened and I was able to, you know, be prepared for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we do that. And then the debriefings are, more of like the sit in a circle, if the guys that make fun of me at work for doing this will be, oh, you're having your kumbaya session. Really, it's just kind of sit in the circle so that everybody's looking at each other when they're
Yeah.
talking. And then, the people that we're doing it with, they don't know, but we're following a model in in a way that's going to talk about what was going on during the incident and then how they're doing since then, and then kind of educating them on the way out, normalizing what they're going through on the way out, and that kind of stuff. So,
Now,
um,
how do you vet your members to be a part of it? Now there's a
well,
process, right?
yeah. So their union is typically gonna like vet them for us to come, but myself and Troy and a few other people, we get a good read on them too prior. It's like there's like a waiting list to get into the class. So we kind of get a feel for these people before they even come in. And then our instructors, who one of our two instructors is our mental health clinician for the team. And then the other is just like, she's a real OG of the CISM world, Sandy. She's awesome. She's on our team. She runs the South Jersey team.
Hmm.
And so between the two of them, and I'm usually at the intro classes, like we can kind of really scope out who is mature enough to handle this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Um, right? Because that's a lot of the training is like, here's the information, and now we're gonna play it out in a scenario. Um, and you could tell right away, almost from when the people do their bios there, who's in it for the right reasons and who's in it because the FMBA is paying for breakfast and lunch. They got a day off of work.
Yeah. Now
So
that's good. That's good. So like there is I know there's classes. You have to take all these classes once you get selected. And it's I mean, it's not just a 1 day class either. What is it, a
no.
week or 2 weeks?
So our class is 3 weeks, or excuse me, 3 days. It's pretty intense 3 days. That's just the intro class to like get in, be on the team. And that gets you 2 certifications. It gets you dealing with individuals in crisis, and then it rolls into dealing with groups in crisis. And then once you have that, then we open up all the other classes that the ICIS offers.
Mm-hmm.
So, like next week, we're running an advanced individual class. So, and I've taken all these classes already. I'm actually hopefully in the spring getting certified to be an instructor for these classes. Um, but they're pretty intense. They're just really kind of teaching you how to create that positive conversation, and really being super empathetic to people in the moment. It's a lot of it sounds silly, but it's like a lot of listening exercises, right? Because you want that person to feel heard.
Hmm.
So what we do is we do a lot of like, partner up. You and I partner up, and it's like, hey, talk to me for 5 minutes about your life. And then I have to kind of present back to the group all this stuff that you told me
Yeah.
in an effort to show you that I was listening.
Are you allowed to take notes?
Um, in the class, they can do whatever they need to do to help themselves. But that's one of the things we say when we go out in the field. And I did it this morning, out of the department, when we go into the room and we tell them, like, guys, there's no note taking, there's no recordings, like, none of this is being reported back to your superior officers. The only thing that we have to do is, like, we have a duty to act if you're telling us you're going to hurt or kill yourself, somebody else. And we have protocols in place as a team to deal with that if and when it comes. It's happened a few times. So yeah, we're prepared for that, I would say. But that's, that and a whole bunch of other things happen in the intro just so that they're comfortable with it.
Now, how do you, because you guys are having to take all of this and absorb it and help each other out, or help your people who are asking for the help, what do you guys do to debrief or to get rid of all this stuff that you're starting to absorb? Who do you talk to?
That's a great question. And we kind of teach that in the class too, right? So whatever team goes out into the field, they're supposed to do like their own little debrief afterwards in the parking lot, just to kind of get whatever is off their chest about it. If somebody's maybe bothered by something, or just it was a heavy incident and now it's weighing on yourself because you're taking away somebody else's pain, so to speak, with it. So we're supposed to kind of debrief ourselves and talk amongst the team. And then we have, like I said, we have mental health people on our team too. So if we need to talk to them, we can talk to them and get stuff off of our chest. But um, what I would say is most of the people that go out to these things, and myself included, like we police ourselves prior, right?
Mhm.
So this whole thing is volunteer. And with that, like when I'm gathering information from a department, I get as much information as I possibly can so I can put it out to my team. I have 190 people on my team right now. That's
Wow.
career firemen, career EMS, dispatchers. I got a couple cops with therapy dogs. Those are mental health professionals and a couple clergy members. So I'll put it out to my team. Hey guys, this is the incident, all the details. This is the day and time, who's available. And then, because we almost always do debriefings, I have a day or two to kind of see who's available, who's not. And then I build out the team. But with that, and they're all told prior, and I remind people all the time, if you're not comfortable with an incident because it hits too close to home, well, then you're no use to me and to the department you're going to be going to speak to. Like if all of a sudden you're listening to them and going through crisis yourself because you're
Yeah.
reliving your moment. So I get that all the time from my team. I don't judge. Everyone's got their kind of things that they carry with them through our careers and what triggers them. And I don't want to put any of my people
Mhm.
into harm's way by doing that. So we're pretty good at like policing ourselves um, prior. So like nobody's going into a situation that they're not comfortable with.
That's
Um,
great. Yeah,
yeah,
it's super important. Like, I just can only imagine how sometimes it can be so mentally taxing
yeah,
to hear all those things. Because, like you were telling me before, you guys are really, really busy traveling with the stress team, and man, you
the
need a break
last
somehow.
the last 2 weeks we've had 10 requests, which is like we typically average like 2 a week, which is still a lot. Like when you look at the other volunteer CISM teams in the state, they're not doing, they're doing like 2 a month, and we're
Yeah,
doing 2 a week at least. And they're pretty like significant incidences too, like newsworthy shit. Um, and so like there's a lot of magnitude around them. Like the thing I was at today was all over the news the last couple days. Um, and so those guys brought some of that emotion, in there with them. They're
yeah,
angry about what's going on social media and what how the news is portraying it. We have to come in and not only deal with what they're dealing with from the incident, but also all these outside factors that are hitting them too. So
yeah. That is definitely a lot, man. And I just know from my area, we have one, but we're thankful that we don't have to use them as frequently as you guys do. But when they respond, they're really good. My department's used them multiple times, and I've been part of that where we had a big tough call, and they brought him in, and it was a great session. Um, and it's funny because we're firefighters, and we don't want to talk about our problems, especially in a group setting. So I've seen it where you get the guy who's just doing one of these, and he'll sit there for the whole event and
yeah.
just I'm not breaking, I'm not saying anything. This is stupid. I don't want to be here. They made me do it. How do you break into someone like that?
So those guys, I know, there's one every time we go out,
One every time.
and a lot of the times, what you find out with those guys is they needed this shit 20 years ago.
Mhm.
And if you say that to them, they'll typically be like, "Yeah, you're right. I wish I had this 20 years ago."
Yeah.
Um, Getting through to those like salty senior guys is like probably one of the most important things in my opinion, because if you can get those guys to open up and take it serious, it usually lets the whole room kind of be like way more into it now, because they're like,
Yeah.
this guy's talking about, what he's dealing with. Like we thought he was, invincible. And now, so yeah, they're navigating people like that are they're a challenge. But fortunately firemen love to talk about the job, right? So it's pretty easy to trick them into talking sometimes. Um and I could say like, hey, what was your role there that day? and he'll be happy to tell me every single thing he did.
Yeah.
And real quick, I'll be like, okay, and how are you feeling during it? And how have you been feeling since? And you got him on the spot. And I don't mean to put people on the spot, neither does my team, but that's been the best way for us to kind of open up the communication.
Mhm.
And so most of the time they answer, sometimes they don't, and it's voluntary for them to be there. So I don't poke the bear, but we do encourage everyone to talk and at least be respectful to the others. You know, if and when they are that disgruntled about it, like, hey, be as disgruntled as you want, but don't discourage the rest of the round, please. So
Now, if anybody is curious about joining one, whether it's in New Jersey, New Hampshire, anywhere, how do they go about joining a group, and what do they need to do?
So, I mean, for our team, because it's run through the union, it's typically like they'll contact their union reps, or they'll contact me or the other guy, Troy, like directly, and be like, "Hey, I'm interested in joining the team. What do I have to do?" And then, we've been fortunate enough the last 2 years to win a grant through the state.
Hmm.
It looked like we were going to win it again, but I think with everything that's going on in the current administration, all the grants are on pause.
Yeah.
But we won significant amount of money. I think we won $60,000 the first year and then 75,000 the next.
That's really good.
And, we put that into uniforms, a lot of training, a lot of like sponsoring other events with our vendor booth. And like I go out, I got like 30 different things laminated for people to take pictures of and stuff. And it's been really good. So, yeah, we're fortunate enough to run trainings to join our team at least twice a year. But sometimes if that money's in, we're doing it 4 times a year. We'll try to go all over the state to, appease South Jersey that they don't have to drive an hour north, or to appease way North Jersey that they don't have to come an hour south and to
Yeah.
Central Jersey, so because over here you could drive 10 miles, it could take you, an hour. It's crazy in certain parts of the state. But yeah, we try to cater to everyone.
So reach out to your union, and then, or whomever the contact might be for the CISMs team, and just go from there, and they'll tell you everything you need to do, right?
Yeah, that's at least for like our team, that's how it works. And so we're a nationally registered team. We could technically like be deployed to another state if another state like was contacting through the ICIFS, like, hey, we just had like a major incident and we need to bring people in. Like we're registered to go out and do that kind of stuff.
They did that up in Maine, when
Yeah.
Maine had their tragedy that went on there. They brought in resources from other mutual states, and New Hampshire brought in part of their critical stress management team as well,
Yeah.
because it was just taxing. Because I mean, those people that were there maybe would have been on their stress team, but they were involved in the incident themselves. So now the people who are usually managing that stress team is now part of it, and they need help themselves. So with that, now, have you ever, how does it work when you are the person who's needing it? So you're the stress management guru for your area, and then you need it now. How do you react to it? It's got to be a different feeling when you are the one sitting in the circle listening to somebody tell you how to unload your feelings, when you're usually doing that.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, I haven't like had to have been in a situation, or at least like me and my crew and maybe my tour, we haven't thought that an incident has warranted like a request. But it's funny. I was actually thinking about that today on the way where I was, and like, how would I be? Would I be able to like step back from being so involved to being like a recipient? Or would I be too talkative because I know they're itching for people to share how they're feeling? Like,
Yeah.
so I think, and again, I don't know, but I would probably, if it was ever like to happen at my work and I had to be a part of it, I maybe would like excuse myself from the group and maybe just do a one-on-one and let
Hmm.
them do their own thing so that I'm not like distracting in it. And unless like they really wanted me there, and then I would be there to, be supportive of my guys at work. But it's a great question. I've never really had to think about that too hard right now.
Yeah, like it's that typical, like, we go and save people. We go and, whether it's a medical call or, structure fires, and then, God forbid, it's my house is on fire. It's kind of that feeling like the sense of helplessness, and you want to help, what's happening next, or maybe you feel like they're not doing enough. Like you're sitting in that circle and that person who's running the group is like, you want to like tell them like, I would say this, or, maybe I wouldn't ask that question, or, I imagine it's going to be hard to not want to step in and kind of help coach them if they were doing it wrong. But you're in that group with your members, like you said, you don't want to be that guy. And like, but honestly, what you said was right. Like, you probably just get up and, I'm going to excuse myself, just because I do teach this and this is my thing.
Yeah. So it's super like, I guess uh, it's super specific, that whole question, right? Because again, like we don't have a lot of rules on our team, but one of them is like you don't debrief your own. So my department has had requests. I'm more than happy to facilitate, team coming in, and I'll make introductions for them. But then it's like, yeah, peace, guys. Like, please, give that, they're coming in to volunteer your time. Please respect that, and do whatever you got to do. But yeah, as far as like if I had to be sitting in it, I don't. want that.
That's
I
gonna be
would
tough.
probably ask them what they would want me to do.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I don't know.
What's the follow up with it? So they have they come in, help them out.
Yeah.
Is there a follow up? Once they've had it, do you reach out a couple days later and say just checking in?
Yeah, I'll do a follow up, or whoever the team lead was for that day should be doing a follow up with them. Um, and then the follow ups usually occur more on the one on ones. Um, Obviously because they're like a little bit more intimate, and obviously somebody was struggling with something a lot more. That those one on ones might take like several more phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing with that, and anybody out there doing like peer work should know, like if you're going after somebody to like do check-ins for more than 2 weeks, it's beyond peer-to-peer help. That's when you should be making a mental health referral. And what I tell my team all the time is when you get to that point, like now you really got to stay on their ass.
Mm.
Goes like, and they might be open to it at first, but firemen, we're great at bullshitting people, right? So it's like, yeah, give me the list of mental health people you vetted, and then 2 days later, it's like, oh, it's still sitting on the counter. It's still, and so it's like you got to really stay on the butt to make sure that they're getting the help that they need. Um, so yeah, that's like another resource that we've put together. I don't know like what other states are doing, but we took the time to vet mental health professionals all across the state to be what we consider culturally competent. So they get the fire service, maybe they're married into it or they're volunteers themselves. Um, and so they don't think the stories that we have to share as first responders are like, we're just writing the next edition of Final Destination.
Mm-hmm.
They know what we're doing is real. They're not going to write you a script and send you out the door. They're there to listen. And it's they've been great. They're a great resource that we have. We give them out all the time. And it's people have this real big misconception on therapy that it's a life sentence. What I tell people all the time is like, hey, they're a back pocket resource for you. You go to them a couple times after a call bothers you, you get to clear it up, clear your head, and then you don't need them anymore. And
Yeah.
then you go back to them a year later when something else hits you and you need to figure out where to put it. And they're there to help you, but it's not for most, it's not a life sentence. For some guys, they probably need to be in therapy before they were fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not. People are always nervous when it comes to that aspect of it, and I feel like that stigma's starting to go away. But it's important that people know that, like, it's not a life sentence. It's like if you broke your ankle, you're gonna go to the doctor and get a cast, and then you're gonna do like a follow up, and he's gonna tell you to do PT, and you're gonna do it. Like people need to kind of recognize when these traumas occur at work that they're like mini brain injuries, right? And you
Yeah.
might to do some PT, being some sessions with the mental health professional in order to get back to full capacity. And so, yeah, I don't know why people forget that like the brain's part of the body, but
Yeah, you've actually you nailed it. Like you're absolutely right that the brain is a big part of the body, and we need it, and we need to be fully aware, and we need that around so we can keep doing our job, and that needs to be taken care of just like everything else on our body. We exercise like crazy, but that brain is if it's starting to get worn out, we're no good to anybody.
yeah.
I love it, man. So we're going to be winding down here. Is there anything that you want to say that we didn't bring up that you might want to give out to other people?
No, I mean, we hit on the topics we said we wanted to hit on. I just think it's, people need to, I think people need to realize that, like, at least for the CISM stuff that I do, everyone kind of needs to know what their triggers are through work that things might make them more upset than others. And I think people also need to remember that their resiliency through work and through these calls are going to change as their lives change.
Yeah.
So you might be good with something now, but 5, 10, 15 years down the road in your career, it might hit you differently. And there's nothing wrong with that. We're all human. We're allowed to react. But I think guys get scared of that. And it's, it's okay.
Love it, dude. I love it. And since we are talking about mental health, I'm going to bring up my guys from Next Rung. I always like to give them a shout out, especially when we're talking about something so important. Plus, it's also November. So Men's Mental Health Awareness Month is happening. So this actually comes up at a perfect time. And I'll bring up Next Rung. I love these guys. I love what they're doing. So make sure you are checking them out, and give you the number here. It's on the back of the card. Make sure that you are following up with them if you need help. And it's nationwide. They're not doing it for money. They're not doing it for fame. They're doing it to help brothers and sisters get the help that they need. A lot of people don't know where to turn. This group will help you. So if you don't know how to book an appointment, if you don't know where to go, if you just have a question or you need someone to talk to, you can call them. And if you feel uncomfortable talking, you can shoot them a text and they'll get right back to you. And they'll start the process for you. But as you know, Chris, we got to talk about it. And the way to get help is to talk about it. No one can do it for you. You have to make that known to others so you can get the help that you need. And I really appreciate what you're doing, Chris. I appreciate what Next Rung is doing. And again, with it being November and Men's Mental Health Awareness, we need to do better all the time. It's not just 1 month out of the year. We should always be looking at mental health, men and women. It's a tough job that we have, and it's okay to talk about these things. Chris Whyte is doing a fantastic job with his critical incident stress management team in New Jersey. If you have questions, he is an open book. You can reach out to him. Is there a better way for people to reach out to you, Chris?
You could just DM me through the page on Facebook or Instagram. That's like the easiest way to get out to me. This is like only the second time I'm making a public appearance. So,
well, I appreciate you being on mine.
Yeah, people are starting to put it together who I am. But yeah, any questions, DM me. I'm always pretty quick to answer. So
love it.
Yeah.
All right, man. I appreciate you being on the show. Chris Whyte, he does the Garden State Size Up. So check that out. The information's solid. And I honestly, Chris, good luck with your testing process. I hope you get the promotion. Please keep me updated on the process. I'd love to find out if you got it. It'd be great to be able to share that, or at least just, applaud you in your efforts and getting that promotion. It'd be fantastic for you. Thank you so much. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate all that you are doing out there in the field. You guys are worth it. You guys are doing a great job. Chris, you're one of those people doing fantastic work, and I appreciate everything you're doing. So with that being said, you all stay safe, take care. And Chris, I want my guests to say it with me. You know what I'm saying, right?
I think
it ends
so.
with an N and ends with a V. Nozzle.
Nozzle.
There you go. All right.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure, Chris. Stay safe, brother. All right, you all take care.
Yep. Have a good one.
Thank you all for tuning in to the C.A.N Report. Before we wrap up, I want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Engine House Designs. They're a firefighter-owned, family-operated business that's been repping the fire service since 2021. Engine House Designs specializes in custom firefighter apparel, hats, hoodies, t-shirts, plus decals, flags, and patches. Whether you're looking for a single shirt or outfitting your whole department, they've got you covered with bulk pricing and top-tier quality. Their mission? Simple. To ignite the pride in firefighters across the country. Check them out on Instagram, Facebook, or visit enginehousedesigns.com. Engine House Designs. Ignite the pride.